How are you? Good to see you. I can see already some people joining live. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Robert Sifa Onjiko, in case you didn't know. Um, as we had promised, I'm here to share so much about how to prepare for travels abroad and other related topics about traveling abroad for education or for work. So this has been after a very long break that we had. I had started last year, but then I took some break because I've been busy and doing some other things. But I just want to let you guys know that right now I'll be doing this more regularly. So I hope before you do anything that you have subscribed and like, and feel free to share these videos with your friends who you would also like to learn something from me and from the guests that I'll be bringing over time. Okay, so first things first, thank you again for taking your time to join. Erica, thank you so much. Erica is congratulating me on my wedding. Yes. So, as you all know, or you're about to know, is that I recently got married, I think last weekend. And yes, I am now married, a husband. And this has been God's doing, and I'm so blessed. In fact, part of the main reason I was able to do this video today is because my wife insisted that I had started this channel to empower people, to educate people, to inspire people, to motivate people, and therefore I should do this. So, despite the fact that I'm not feeling so well, I don't know if you can tell from my voice, I've been feeling a bit under the weather, but she's just told me to keep on doing this. And so, yes, I'm here to talk and to teach and to educate and to inspire and to also learn from a few from things that my audience will bring. Kibubu of Nyanzi, congratulations on your wedding. Thank you so much, Kibubu. Yes, the two of us will come live together very soon. That will be another session. Hopefully, the topic will be something like interracial marriage or marrying outside the borders or something interesting as that. But yes, that session is coming soon. So I hope you guys have subscribed and you will share this link and bring your friends. And I'll hopefully share also for. I've been getting a lot of messages of my friends and other people talking from Facebook that, hey, you should also talk about how to marry from abroad. Yeah, that is a very interesting request. And if, I believe that everything is God's plan. So if God intends you to get a spouse abroad, then I think I can talk about how my journey to marrying here um, resulted. So, yes, I don't, it's not that I encourage everyone to marry abroad or interracially, but listen to your own voice, what you want. Sometimes it's hard to hear, but when the time is right, all the signs will point towards that. Yes, thank you, Erica. So, without so much wasting or passing a lot of information in the beginning, I want to thank you for joining in again and give you a quick recap of what we have planned for 2025. So, the purpose for this channel is always to educate and spread awareness and inform the audience on getting self improvement opportunities, be it studying abroad or working abroad or, you know, getting yourself out of your comfort zone. You're in the right place. Also, is we intend to build cultural connection and understand these cultural differences, because I feel that the main reason there's conflicts in the world currently is because of fear. People fear what might come from the other parties, and this fear is as a result of misunderstanding due to lack of information. So if we learn people's cultures and different other people's cultures and the reasons behind the things they do and what they do, I feel like the world would be a lot more united and peaceful. This is as a result of me traveling to the United States from Kenya. And as if you watch my previous videos, you'll realize that I have been talking about cultural shocks. So when I came from Kenya to the USA, I was shocked about so many things, about how people act towards me, you know, how people do certain things, like for instance, I would meet people in a different gathering, and then I'll meet them at a different gathering. And in my culture, I'm used to, once you meet someone, they automatically become my friends. So then I realized that here in America, it's not like that. You meet somebody, maybe you just an acquaintance, and then you have to build that friendship and cultivate it over time. So you might have a colleague at work, and that has been happening to me. I have colleagues at work, I meet them on the streets, and we pass each other without saying hi. You know, in Kenya, that I don't think any point in any country in Africa that doesn't happen. If you work with someone, automatically you see them, you're excited, and you're like, "Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, where are you going?" So there's so many cultural differences. If you didn't know that is how it happens in the US, then you'd start thinking that they hate you or they dislike you, and you come with so many theories to prove that. So yes, that's the reason for this channel, and I'll be talking about so much about the stories and experiences in that line. So point two, I'll be walking you guys through the journey of the application, if you want to study abroad or if you want to work abroad, or my experiences. I'll be bringing guests who have applied, who are students, not only in the United States, but also in the United Kingdom, in Finland, in Sweden, in Australia, in the United Arab Emirates, and in other African countries. So this is me to encourage people who are of like mind, who wants to travel, you know, and to be a resource to answer your questions and to help you guide you through that. And we'll also be sharing the success stories of people who got tired of where they were and want to come out of their comfort zones. So if that's you, you're welcome to this channel. And finally, it's about mentorship. We'll be mentoring each other. We need each other in this life. Humans are not created to be existing on their, like, as one. We need each other to go and to thrive and to be where we are destined to be. So feel free to keep posting any questions that you might have. I've already seen so many questions. Like somebody asked on the chat if I intend to come back to Kenya, and yes, that is the point. There's a say from my tribe where I'm from the tribe of Luo in Kenya, and there's a say that goes, Okonego ituo kama iluokorie. That means you should not be dry. You should not dry where you took a bath. Once you've taken a bath, you go dry yourself elsewhere. Okay. Thank you, Otile, for joining. Um, yes. So I came here. I've already been empowered. I got my degree. I feel like my calling is back in my country and in my continent of Africa, where I can do much more for the people than here. Okay. So I need to go back, inspire people, educate people, and share my experiences and uplift other people. I think that's also what we are called to do in the Bible. So, Titus, thank you for joining, and I've seen that you've also been trying to apply for opportunities and all that. And yes, we'll talk about the journey and all that. So, we have only 9 minutes to go, unfortunately, and I want to talk about a particular topic for today. And this was a request from one of you or two of you who inboxed me and reached out. I think the people have gotten visas to come to the United States, and they were asking how to prepare. So, how to prepare for travel abroad, not only to the United States, but to any country. This is a topic that you could easily Google and find the answers. But I believe that the main reason they asked me is because they want my personal experience and story, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. So number one is do research, thorough research about your destination. Yes. Oh, this is Vicky from Tanzania. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Hi, Vicky. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I believe this is a question you asked. So, number one thing you should do is to do research about your destination. In the United States, there are so many states. That's why it's called United States. And every state has different Wycliffe Onyari. Welcome, Wycliffe. In the United States, there's so many different, ways in which the states are run, and they have different policies. They have different everything. So, number one thing is, as an international student, when you're traveling to the United States, you are going to pay out of state tuition. Like every state, somebody born in one state, let's say I was in North Carolina. If you are born in North Carolina and you're a North Carolina resident, the state pays for part of your fees in their public universities. So if the tuition fee is $15,000 per semester, they will pay around $11,000 for you. So you only have to pay 4,000, and this 4,000 is I think just about expenses related to lodging, and library and other things. But the tuition is paid for. So as an international person, when you're coming to the United States, you're considered an out-of-state student in that university, and therefore you pay slightly higher, not slightly, but a lot more than the people from that states are paying. So the one thing you should already have secured by now is a scholarship, probably a partial scholarship. It's easy to get a paid tuition if you're coming for a PhD or a postdoctoral position. They pay you to just study, you know. Most universities, if you have a master's already and you're coming for PhD, it's free. They pay everything and they still pay you a stipend to do PhD in that university. So that's one of the best ways um, to come for such scholarships. But if you already have a degree and you want a master's, And it is also possible, by the way, I know most of you don't know, in the United States, you can do an undergraduate degree for 4 years and go do your PhD directly, as long as you have a good experience in your field, in a lab, or you've done internship and you have industrial experience. That's really possible. So if you did your undergrads for 4 years and you have good grades, they call it GPA. So you have a good GPA, you can apply directly for PhD, and then you get that, and you don't need to pay anything. The university pays for a lot of the things, so that's the best decision. But if you don't have good grades and GPA, but you have good experiences in your field, then you can apply for masters like I did. And then after getting your master's, the university has so many other scholarship opportunities. You just go to the scholarship uh, tab. There's a department for scholarships and financial aid. Just Google. It will bring all the scholarships the school can offer. Apply for all of them, even the ones you think you did not qualify for. Because you know what? If you apply and nobody else applied, then you'd be the only person who qualifies for that scholarship, right? Yes, it is said that you miss all the shots you do not take. So, if you really want something, you have to try. Put yourself out there. My story is that I applied for 16 different scholarships. And of the 16, I only got one. And that one scholarship happened to be the out of state tuition scholarship, which paid the bulk of that. So it paid around $11,000 out of the $15,000 I was supposed to pay. So I was only required to pay $4,000. So out of state tuition scholarship is one thing. If you can find ways to secure that, always apply to that. And then do ask for teaching assistantships, because that's what I did. And then they pay you to teach or to help students with their assignments, and that could pay the differences. So this all comes to the topic, to the point where I say do thorough research. Do thorough research of all the possible financial aid you can get. Okay? There are some countries that have embassies that also help their students to secure certain grants. So do not leave any stone unturned. Number two, look at the cost of living of that state or that country or where you're going. In the United States, for instance, various states have different costs of living. Like, for instance, if I lived in North Carolina, and the price of rent for one bedroom was around 1000 1200. Sometimes one bed one bath would be $700 or $500. It depends on the place and the condition of the house and the amenities, right? But then the same house that I paid for about $700 in North Carolina per month would cost $1,500 here in Boston. Okay? So that's how different it is. So if somebody is earning $10,000, let's say $50,000 per month, not per month. Nobody, in most jobs, nobody can earn $50,000 per month. It's like per year. So the salary range is done per year. So if somebody's salary range is $50,000 per year in North Carolina, for that same job, it will be paid around maybe $80,000 here in Boston. And that's just because of the difference in cost of living. So the person in Boston earning $80,000 per year is no different than that person earning $50,000 per year. The difference is the cost of living and the town. So it's that plays the biggest role in your research of your location of where you're going to. So don't just look at the figures and think, oh, they pay so much more in Boston. Oh, they don't pay so much more in North Carolina or South Carolina. Another example is when I was applying for PhDs, I almost got two offers. One in East Carolina, which is in South Carolina, and their package for PhD was $18,000 a year. But then another offer was from Rutgers in New Jersey, and their package for PhD for the year is about $30,000. So I was excited that, oh man, in New Jersey they're paying me $30,000 to do a PhD, while they want to pay me only $18,000 in South Carolina. Guess what? It turns out that the $18,000 in South Carolina is way much more valuable than the $30,000 in New Jersey. And that's because with that $18,000, I can rent a one bedroomed apartment, which I pay about $500 per month. And the cost of living, like the price of one crate of egg, could be maybe only $2 in South Carolina, when in New Jersey that could cost me around $8. Okay, so that's the whole thing of me saying do thorough research on the cost of living on where you want to go to. Once you've known the cost of living, it's easier to budget. So number two, budget. Budget about travel expenses. Okay, what's the cost of the return flight to and from? That's how you do it. In case you go to the United States and then you realize that it's not what you expected, or you go to that country and the offer that they give you is not what you applied to, instead of sticking to that and suffering, you need to go back and re-strategize. So you have, when you're budgeting for your air flights, you have to have both ways. The cost of your travel should be to and from, and then you still have another thing you should budget for is insurance, travel insurance. If you have travel insurance, you are possibly going to have an easy time at the visa interview embassy, because when you're doing your interview, they're going to ask who is paying for your flight or who is your guarantor. But if you already appear at the visa interviewing embassy and you already have your travel insurance, that in case of anything, your expenses for traveling is covered, you're not going to be stuck in that country, then it's gonna be easy on you. It's that is just a thing that is good. It's not mandatory. Okay, this is just my point of view. Doesn't mean this is what you must do. Another thing you need to do research about and plan for is do a research about the culture. And that's why we're here. This is why this channel is here. Research about how do people communicate, communication styles, so that you're not shocked the way I was shocked. Most Africans come to the United States or go to United Arab Emirates or they go to Europe and they become depressed and lonely. And this is just because they don't get the same vibe that they have back at home in Africa. Okay? And this is just because of the cultural difference. So you have to research on the communication style, how people dress, how people approach relationships, you know, how you address other people, so that when you go there, you have low expectations or high expectations of yourself on how you need to hold yourself accountable. So, for instance, the communication styles in Africa is mostly indirect. If somebody wants to tell you in Kenya or in any other African country that they like you, they will use a lot of words and symbolism. You know, it's like, hey, I've been checking you out, and you pass here, and I just like your working style and everything and all that. They'll go a long route to express that they like you, and they won't even tell you. So it's you to decipher that, oh, they're trying to tell me. Or if you are talking to somebody in Africa and they are already tired of you, they won't tell you to leave, right? They will be like, so, um, tell me, what else would you want us to talk about? Do you know what your plans are? When they ask you what your plans are, they want to know that you have plans to leave or anything. But in the United States, the communication style is direct. If somebody is tired and they want to sleep and you're still there talking, they'll tell you, hey, I want to go to bed. If you're an African, you'll feel like, oh my God, this person is chasing me away. But no, it's just that's how people communicate here. If somebody likes you, they'll tell you. They won't give you signs to read. They'll express it most of the time. If, um, for instance, there's so many examples. So the main reason why people would feel like people do not like them is because of these communication styles. They'll feel like, oh, that person do not like me because they just told me to my face this and that, but you just understood it wrongly. So that could cause a big barrier on how you feel lonely or you don't feel lonely. Okay, if you see people here, in the summer, people dress or do not dress at all, like they wear very short things and barely no clothes because it's so hot. Their bodies cannot take the heat. Like the houses are always very super cold. There are ACs to cool the house, to bring the temperatures very low. In my country, in such temperatures, it would be cold for us and would be freezing. And you wear a jacket and you want to get in the duvet. But for people in America, those temperatures, it's perfect. Okay? And that is just because we live in different climatic regions, and our skins and bodies react and adjust to these differently. So most buildings will be too cold for Africans, but it will be perfect. In the summer, most people will be underdressed, and you might think they're dressing suggestively, as many people say, but it's just their way of dressing because of the weather. While in Africa, it could be a normal weather for us, maybe let's say 28 degrees Celsius, which would be around 78 or something. And for us, we can still wear long sleeved shirts and walk and we are fine. But for people in the US, that is too hot and they just need to wear only, you know, uh, you know, sleeveless top. So if you start to understand these differences, then you start appreciating people and what they do, and the world, I think, becomes a better place. So that is just one example. I have a million, but I can't talk about them all about them tonight. So when you want to travel, as I said, do research about your destination, the cost of living, expenses, parking, what to pack. For instance, If you're going to California, do not buy jackets. Yes, have a jacket just in case it gets cold, but it's so hot over there throughout the year. Okay? If you're coming to Boston, you need to have two sets. Very warm, and when I say very warm, most of the jackets they sell in Africa cannot contain this weather. Like it goes to 0 degrees Celsius. Most of the time it's 1 degrees in the winter. The highest is usually 4 degrees Celsius in winter. That's like being in a fridge. Okay? So research how to pack. Don't just pack your best clothes. If you're coming anytime between January and anytime between November and March, pack a lot of warm clothes. If you're coming between March and um, March and August, have clothes that are for warm weather. If you're going to other states, adjust accordingly. So you need to do all this research, okay? Thank you, Irene. I've seen your text, and I'm glad this has inspired you, and you find this inspiring. Um, so, cost of living, expenses, parking, culture, communication styles. We talked about direct and indirect communication styles, family styles. In Kenya or in Africa, it's you can live with your parent even when you are old, right? When you are 40 years old and your parents are still sending you pocket money. This is this happens so many times. In the US, once you are 18 years or you have gone to college, you're on your own in most cases. So students get loans to pay their fees. They move on their own, they start survive, they do multiple jobs. Somebody's in the university taking classes but has two jobs. So this teaches them to be responsible very early on. So, these are some of the differences that are also because for me, I was in the university in Kenya for 4 years in Maseno University. And every other time I would be calling my sisters and my parents and hey, please send me money. Please send me money. I'm out. I was bothering them every time. And because I don't know, I wasn't working, I wasn't doing any other job other than just studying. Okay. But that is very uncommon in the United States. Students in the in the colleges, they don't do that. They get jobs. But as an international student who is traveling to America, to Europe, to other countries, once you leave your country, know that you won't depend on your parents anymore because the conversion rate of the currency is so high. Even if they send you 1,000 Kenyan shilling, that will be nearly nothing here. It will be like $3 or $2. It won't help you much. But for them, they've given you your best. So you need to plan yourself very well financially. Find every scholarship you can find, apply for them. Get a job in campus because on a student visa, you cannot be allowed to work outside the university. You cannot. The law forbids it. So you can only work within the university or within your department. And that is called a tuition assistantship, TA, or a research assistantship. Okay? So make sure you get these jobs within your university. Those could also help you pay your bills while you're working. And one thing I did before I traveled, I did a harambe. Harambe means fund drive. If you're traveling abroad or planning to travel abroad, please, that is a big source of funds. Let your family, friends, relatives know. they'll contribute for you. You need every currency you can get so that when you come, you can pay your rent while you're still um, getting settled. You can eat, and the cost of living is way high. One thing when you arrive abroad, I think any country, stop converting the currency to your native country's currency. Like for me, the first time I went to Walmart to do shopping, I looked at one avocado. And do you know what the price for one avocado was? $1. One avocado cost $1. And that was my first day in the supermarket and at Walmart. And I looked at it and I was like, how can one avocado be 150 Kenyan shillings? No, I cannot buy this avocado. You know, if you start doing that, then you won't live in any country, bro, because the conversion rates are high. So you have to just forget about everything back at home. Just remember the good manners and the hard-working culture and work hard, because that's without hard work and discipline, anyone who is planning to go any country abroad, it's hard to make it. You need to be purely dedicated and devoted to the reason why you're going there. Work twice as hard as anybody else in order to even try to achieve. The main reason I'm saying that is because the cultural differences makes even learning alone very hard. The way we speak our English is different with the way English is spoken here and how you understand sentences. So, if you are writing an essay, your essay will be half as good as somebody who is writing it and who has grown up in America. Because for them, English is their first language and they are thinking in English and writing their English. It comes out perfect. If you are writing an essay and your first language was Swahili or French or Luganda, it will come out different because you're thinking in Swahili, you're interpreting it and converting it to English. So the sentence structure and grammar will be way different. So the struggles of people trying to come to learn in the United States or in any European country is twice as hard. So you have to work twice as hard. Get it before you come, focus that. It's not easy. But because of how we have been taught to diversify and to read, and the exams are broadened, that helps you now because the way they teach here is so clear. Like they give you all the learning resources. You have the library, you have all the technology, you have everything. So it becomes easier for you because you're used to learning the hard way. So, there's that balance. But number one thing you need to do is be very disciplined. Okay, let me summarize. I'm way past my time. I said I'll take 20 minutes, but I don't know. When I start talking, I never stop. So I have to stop myself. So let me just summarize how to prepare for travel abroad. Number one, do research about your destination, cost of living, and the expenses. Pack accordingly. Do research about the seasons, the weather, and everything. The culture, communication styles, work ethic, all that. And then number two, accommodation. How do you get accommodated in this country? Number one, the international office that is bringing you, if it's for work or for education, they always have resources. Either international students who are also in that school or at that workplace. Ask them to link you with those people and they'll give you the best housing deals for either workers or for students. Ask for university housing. It's always way cheaper than everything else. Another option is there's something called residence assistantship. For those who are writing, write that one down. It's very important Every university has this package called resident assistantship. They usually ask for people to apply for resident assistantship because before you travel, you can apply to be a resident assistant. For those who have done in your high schools, you used to have dorm captains. Resident assistants are people who live with students in dorms, and you do leadership things, activities, like ensuring that, there's peace, records are taken, logs are enforced, and it's a safe environment. So there's some roles like that. When you get a resident assistantship, all you need to do is to be like a dorm captain. You live for free in the university. They pay for your meals, and all you need to do is to go to class and be a leader in your dorm. So that's a very big package that many people don't know. So if you're already planning to travel abroad, start checking when to apply for that resident assistantship in that university right now. So that's accommodation is checked. Another place you can go for to check for accommodation is Facebook Marketplace. Social media is very powerful. If you log onto your Facebook, there's an icon for Facebook Marketplace. Change the location to be the location of the place where you're traveling to, and then look for housing. That is how to find houses in Boston or in anywhere you want to go. Okay? If you don't know anyone, Facebook Marketplace, start changing that. If you want to go to Boston, go to Facebook Marketplace, put Boston, and then housing. And you can adjust. I want a house that is between $700 to $1,200. And then it will list for you all the available houses. That is the best way to get housing, accommodation. And then you can send direct chats that, hey, I'm looking to be there. And then the same Facebook has so many groups of university housing. There are people who wants to be roommate. You might find somebody there and you be roommates with them, and it cuts the cost in half. Um, the last two things to do is to the visa. You can get a scholarship, you can get admission letter, but even with all these things that you've gotten, it's still possible that you won't get the visa. So many people have been denied the visas, even if they have all the qualifications. So getting the visa is the most important thing. You want to be as prepared. Better be over prepared than under prepared. How do you get prepared? Google. All for me, how did I plan for my visa interview? Number one, make sure all the finances are up to date. If the school has offered you a package, print the agreement. If it's an email or it's an acceptance and offer letter, print it. Alessandra says, great advice, just be careful. Sometimes there are scams on Facebook Marketplace. Yes, there are scams on Facebook Marketplace, so you have to be very careful. Yeah, so I was saying, thank you, Alessandra, for that. I was saying, somebody remind me. What was I? I was talking about, yeah, visa. So make sure you have all the supporting documents, like the scholarship printed out. How much is your scholarship? How much is your tuition fees? Make sure that all the financial help that you've gotten matches the expenses that you have. Because if there's a difference, then you have to start accounting. How are you going to pay for this deficit? So, for instance, if all your living expenses, the school will always give you that. Okay, your fees is 50,000 per year. We are giving you a tuition assistantship of $20,000 a year. Your expenses are worth 12,000. So they'll add all this and give you those expenses in the offer letter. So you have to start now explaining how you are going to cover the deficits. So that's why you make sure you secure a teaching assistantship job before you even go to that visit, and you have it printed. You'll be like, okay, so I've been given a scholarship which is half the expenses. I've gotten this teaching assistantship, and then you've printed it, which is this much. It will help cover this deficit. On top of that, my uncle or my dad or my parents have this amount in bank, and they've set it aside for my tuition, and you've printed all that and you give it. So that is the most important thing. If you can explain that you're not going to be a burden in the country that you're going to, then your chances are high. But there's also many other things that go through the visa embassies. So just pray, because everything we do is God's will in our lives. If God has really planned for you to be where you want to go, you're going to go there no matter the obstacles, no matter what anyone tries to do, you are going to make it. So all we have to always do is pray about the plans you want to come to life, speak it into existence, and work hard. Trust me, if you do these three things, that they sound so simple, there's never any secret. Somebody will ask me, what is your secret? What is the secret to success? There's no secret. Pray about what you want, speak it into existence. When you speak it, you give it life. The tongue is very powerful. Be like, I am going to make it to London. Believe it. Pray to God to show you the right people to talk to give you the people who are going to be a resource, to give you the resources. Then work hard. When you work hard, you're going to start doing research on how to get to London, how to get funded to be in London. Meet people who are already living in London who are willing to hold your hand. Okay? Irene says the resident assistantship point, very useful insight. Yes. That is, most people do not know. And people do not even know that there's always a teaching assistantship. Like, there's so many resources the university give international students, but they'll never tell you. You know? It's the way you've been told, ask and it shall be given unto you. Knock and the door shall be opened. The door will not be opened if you're standing behind the door and waiting to be let in. You have to say, I'm here. You have to knock. So, yes, if you have questions, please feel free to inbox me on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Write on the comments any questions that you have, and I'll be able to answer. Okay? All I want to do is to be a source of information, and to be able to help someone to achieve their goals. Because I did not arrive here by myself. Somebody else or some people helped me to be here where I am today. So I hope that you are inspired, you are educated, and above all, um, keep praying and trusting. Thank you, Irene. More insights for visa interview preparation would be good. Yes. My next session is this Friday. So you don't have to wait until next week. Come with all your friends and the people that want to learn about going abroad or abroad stories or how to get out of your comfort zone, okay? Thank you guys for staying with me, even though I'm way much past your time. I know it's at night right now in Kenya and in so many other places across the world. In somebody's in Tanzania, and I saw somebody from Zimbabwe. Thank you for joining. Friday, same time, but Friday I'll only be here for 20 minutes. So invite your friends, share this link with somebody who you want to learn. I'll answer more questions that I received today in the chat. Like Titus said that he's already applying. He's writing to professors or and he's asking for me to help draft this email. So that's something I can do because for me, my sister Rosemary helped me draft those emails. So I already learned from that and I can write an email that you want to send, and I'll help you read that email and point out any things that you may have left out or things that might work for you. So I'll meet you at the same place on Friday. Thank you guys so much for being here with me and for chatting and knowing that I'm not alone here. So see you on Friday. Love you guys. Bye.